Welcome to MindSET, your weekly live stream bringing you the tools and knowledge to manage your mental health and well-being.
We are going to go into, what are we going to go into? Doing and being mind, taught by our resident mindset therapist, Darryl. Say hi to everyone, Darryl.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
So MindSET is put together by therapists, staff at Body and Soul, and people with lived experience of mental health. We want to share what works with you in a friendly, accessible way, because we do know what works. This week, we're going to cover also being and doing mind in our tool of the week. And then Virginia will be live scribing to illustrate what you say, Darryl.
What we're going to talk about today is something called balancing the doing mind and the being mind, right? And this is really helpful for the people that are watching this, the overdoers, people that are just doing stuff all the time, sort of relentlessly task focused, having to produce stuff. But it's also helpful for the do nothingers. So people that spend a lot just not doing anything, doing too little. They just spend their whole time zoning out or sleeping or whatever. And it also is useful for those people that oscillate, or those people that go between the two extremes. And when you go from these two extremes of doing and being, they get in the way of being skillful. And what skillful means, I talk a lot about mindfulness and skills, but skillful means is a Zen term for entering into what we call wisdom or the wise mind. But before I go back to the wise mind bit, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the doing mind and the being mind are and why we want to balance them. You see, because those of you that spend too much time in this doing mind, is that what happens is you just end up living too automatically. It's like you're living life on autopilot. And when you do that, you don't notice when context changes. So you just, who is it? I just wonder, all the people here just relentlessly task focused. So my question to people is, how many of you always need to be doing something?
Me.
And when you're not doing something, you just feel guilty for not being productive. So I want people to think about how much time are they doing that, and then thinking about, like, what activities do you do excessively, just on and on? So this might be cleaning. Just make a note of what are you doing all the time? Busy. They're almost like addictive behaviors, really. So I can give you some examples of some people. They don't stop planning. Even when they're sitting down resting, they're planning what they're going to do next, or they're doing to-do lists, or they're doing what they call life admin. And this doing mind, the ambitious and goal-orientated mind, is causing problems in your life when taken to extremes. Because when you're in doing mind, what you do is you view your thoughts as facts about the world. You're focused totally on problem solving and achieving goals. So addicted to doing, and you just lose sight of this of the moment that we're in. And so if doing mind is relentlessly on it all the time, trying to just be useful, well, what happens is you actually burn out. When you're in this, eventually you burn out, and you can get very sad from it. And then the other side of this is what they call the being mind. When you're in being mind, you're just doing too little. You're just spending all, you're just zoning out, sleeping, and the consequences of that is that some people, they end up with this kind of sad realization that they've missed out on life, because they're not doing anything. And the being mind has got two parts to it, right? The being mind, you can be curious, you can have a nothing to do mind. When you're in being mind, what you do is you view your thoughts as sensations. You're much more focused on the uniqueness of each moment. So when you think of doing mind and being mind, there's there's pluses and minuses to it. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is balance doing mind and being mind. Yeah. Because both of them have their benefits and both of them have their consequences. Yeah. So I would ask people to think about, what are the areas of your life that are out of balance? You know, so for me at the moment, because of the pandemic, I'm noticing that my rest and my work are out of balance. So I'm working longer because I don't enjoy TV particularly. So I'm working more and I'm resting less. And that's causing a difficulty with me. I'm feeling tired all the time. What about you, girl? What about you, Virginia and Barbara? What's out of balance in your life at the moment?
For me, I think it's being productive because yeah, I think I find myself always finding new jobs even though I don't really need it. But I just think, I can't really stop now just because it's locked down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And you, Barbara?
For me, it's getting better for sure since learning all this stuff, but it's usually keeping busy, like Virginia said. So like always doing something. So work stuff and then house stuff. So because I work freelance, I feel like I have to just work when work comes in, because I don't know if there's going to be no work tomorrow. So I feel like I have to do everything when it comes, even if it's too much for one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still doing that actually. I'm just realizing as I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah. And you know what? And so am I. And the problem is, right, is that when you don't combine, or when you don't have balance, and there are lots, I'll give you more examples of it, but when you don't have balance, or these combinations are out of sync, what happens is that you become biased. And when you become biased, your wisdom or your wise mind gets compromised. So like I'm noticing how much I'm working, like how much I'm working at the moment. And as I work more and more, I've become biased again. I've been thinking, gosh, because I used to have 4 or 5 weeks holiday a year. And I'm starting to think, well, do I really need that 4 or 5 weeks holiday? How comes I took so much time off? And, I could be staying and earning money and doing other things in that time. So I noticed that actually, I'm thinking that, I could just keep going. Even though in the past, I've always known that taking 2 or 3 holidays a year has been amazing for me. It made me fresh. It made me able to smile more, to play with my children more, and this kind. So even though it gave me the benefits, just by being in one of them too much, I noticed that I'm leaning towards it.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of examples of this, right? Because so some people, what they do is they're working to achieve their goals all the time. Right, they're just working so hard to achieve stuff, and the wisdom would be working, because it's really important to work to achieve your goals, whilst at the same time being able to let go of the need to achieve goals. So you see the contradiction, and that's for some people. So thinking about things that are out of balance for you, yeah, and this concept, or this wisdom that we're on about, is called the middle path. And the middle path is considered wisdom. And when we're in wise mind, what we're doing is we're replacing or with both. Yeah. So for me, it's not, do I work more or rest more? Yeah, it's both. It's that I need to work and I need to rest, or I would want to. Like I was saying, this idea of this balance, and it's not about 50-50. Yeah, it's not about 50-50. It's about getting the split that works for you.
Okay, so one person says, is it also doing mind if we're endlessly occupied by the phone? So not really working or studying, but for self-indulgent activities, watching Netflix, etc. I feel easily tired to face my tasks and end up unwinding through phone apps.
Yeah. Yes, because you're not because what you're doing is multitasking, aren't you? And you're not doing one thing or the other. So balance would be about having dedicated time to do both of those, because both of those, so the option is, or the skillful means is getting the contentment out of both of them, whereas this person sounds like they're not getting the contentment from either of them.
Yeah. Okay. And then somebody says, I often have many tasks to do, but procrastinate and don't do anything, but I feel guilty and anxious for not doing them. Is this being mind?
This is the extreme thinking style of both of them. So the pressure, isn't it, always to produce, and that having to always to produce is what overwhelms. And when you feel overwhelmed, some people do nothing when they're overwhelmed, or lots of people do nothing when they're overwhelmed. So these are great, these are great examples of it.
So then what would you suggest to the person that's overwhelmed and is like, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything then? Like, how could they come out of that?
Well, they would practice letting go of having to achieve goals and throw them, and throw your entire self into the balance, isn't it? So have designated times to do, because we want to do both things. We want to do both things. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So like for me in my freelancing example, I know that for me, I do stop when it's like 5 o'clock. I stop, like no matter what, I just stop. And since I started doing that, it's better because then I'm not allowed to work after that.
Well, look, when people are overwhelmed, right, with and stressful life events, because stressful life events happen to everybody, and they require flexibility, and if you're stuck in one way or the other, then that's not flexibility. If you're stuck just always doing something, always producing something, that's not flexible. So the way to think about it for people is, do you ever label yourself, or people say that you're rigid or stuck in a certain way, or things have to be a certain way for you? Yeah, because that's a sign that you lack what they call emotional flexibility. So, because you see, our minds are spacious things, and if when we the spacious mind is liberating. The spacious mind allows us to let go of our egos. It allows us to let go of clinging to stuff. It allows us to let go of having to be one thing or the other. And when we have these spacious minds, it's a sign of emotional well-being. And it's again the opposite of this rigidity and flexibility. So if you find that you have to keep doing one thing, you keep doing this on and on and on relentlessly, then you want to have a look at it. And I want to tell people a little bit about the history of this, right? Because this idea of middle path thinking, it goes back over 5,000 years. Yeah, and you can see it in Egyptian times. You can see it throughout history. You could see it in Victorian times, when they used to say things like all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You can see it in advertising campaigns of the 70s and 80s. Mars had an advertising campaign. It was like, a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play. and what they were really talking about is the need for human beings to enter into those three spheres of their life. So people watching this, right, my guess is that they're doing too much of one of them. Mostly it will be work.
Yeah. So one person says, journaling might help maybe to schedule and balance our both being and doing mind. They're asking that question.
Yeah, I think scheduling is scheduling sets the mind up into a template, and whether you write it down or not, but lots of people that are really balancing this, they tend to write things down. This is where when you look at it, this is where diaries and calendars and all of these things come. And some people, it just helps some people to be more explicit about it, and to get into the practice of doing it.
Yeah, or like reminders on a phone or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed, in the past, I've worked with law firms and different places and stuff like different things like that. And sometimes all you want people to, what you do is you get people to schedule in their work, their rest and their play. I remember working for this law firm where the lawyers were exhausted. They were working 13, 14, 15-hour days. You know, and actually what we did is we got them to schedule in. All we did is got them to schedule their work, their rest, and their play. Yeah, just divide it up, change the balance a little bit. And what you saw after about a month or so was that what they were able to produce was much more. If they were actually there, because they were timed every 6 minutes, they had to log what they were doing. And what they saw was that by working less, they actually produced more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, because they weren't so exhausted.
Yeah, I found that with my writing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose the thing to say to people is to think about dividing it in a different way, because when you do this and you become aware of it, it enhances your awareness while you're engaging in activities, and the quality of all of your interactions change. Yeah. So the doing, the being mind, being mind can be sitting on a beach and, watching the waves come and go, and you're not really doing anything. But
so all the mindfulness stuff, right? All those mindfulness exercises are ways of being in being mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So, so thinking, so there's all sorts of doing and being mind. There are times that as human beings, there's times that we want to be, we want to deny ourselves stuff. Sometimes self-denial is great for us. Sometimes self-indulgence is great for us. Sometimes it's fine to lay in bed. It's fine to lay in bed on a Sunday, but if you work Monday to Friday, it's probably not a great idea. So what do you want to balance? People can balance, doing too many things for other people and not doing things for yourself. You can balance achievement, humility. You can balance loving other people, taking time for yourself. Yeah. So getting people to think about the or. So what I would like from you two, right, to inspire our participants is, what are you going to try and balance over the next week? How are you going to balance your doing and being? How are you going to take it to another level? Because it's very individual.
Well, there was one that you said, but I don't know if it's really like doing and be. Oh yeah, it is. Oh. I can feel the resistance. For me, it would be doing things for other people versus doing things for myself.
Okay. Yeah. Well, did you notice what got in the way of that? When you said, "Oh, I noticed the resistance," do you notice what was it that got in the way? Was it a thought? Was it a belief? What was it that got in the way?
I think it's a belief that doing things for myself is like a waste of time. Yeah.
And some people might, and some people might have extensions of that, of like, well, I don't deserve, I don't deserve it.
That goes with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Virginia's able to comment and write at the same time.
I think I'm gonna try what you do, Barbara. That is to set like the work hours during the day. So like maybe wake up at 8 and then work until 5, and then after 5 I'm not allowed to work, and I should do more self-soothing. Yeah. So maybe like watching.
You could Netflix. Do more self-soothing.
I could do more self-soothing, like light a candle. Oh, I need to buy more candles. Yeah. I think I already finished all of my candles, but I need to let myself have time to watch like TV shows, because I haven't been watching Netflix because I've just been stressing out about finding jobs and stuff.
And don't forget to have a mindful lunch in the middle of the day.
Oh yeah, and obviously to not multitask when I'm having my meals, because I usually watch TV and eat at the same time. Yeah. Or be on the phone.
I'm sure you're not the only one, right?
Yeah.
You at home, right? Ginny's not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person said, I'm afraid if I stop doing things, I'll never start again. So I think scheduling is a good idea.
Yeah, that's one that catches a lot of people. They think that, yeah, because they have an extreme thinking style, so they notice that they really get stuck. But let go of it and see what happens. Yeah, because it's unlikely you're going to go, it's it's really unlikely, and there's things that you can practice to do that.
Yeah. What would you like people to do to take away from this? What do you want them to practice?
Well, I suppose what I might get people to do is just sort of have what they call a wise mind awareness. So the awareness of the need to balance. So maybe notice events in your everyday life, both pleasant and unpleasant. And even if they're only very small, such as, I don't know, washing your hands in warm water or tasting something to eat. Yeah, just notice events in your life as they happen. See what you're doing too much of. Practice doing what's needed to be done in a situation. So ask yourself, when you see something that needs to be done, does this need to be done? Does this need to be done right now? Is this me just being excessively task focused? Yeah. So constantly remind yourself that you're trying to seek a balance. Yeah. 70-30, 60-40, whatever it is. So the idea would be to look at your work, your rest, and your play. And some people, often it's 60-20-20, something like that.
Whatever works for each person. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you so much, Darryl. So everyone at home, I was going to say you've got, but we've got something to practice this week, right? Searching for that balance between the work, rest, and play. We have learned here that to get the most benefit from these tools, it is really, really important to practice.
And if you have any burning questions or not burning questions, you can email us on mindset@bodyandsoulcharity.org or share the mindset. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, next week is going to be very, very exciting because, at the start of this particular series, about 6 or 7 weeks ago now, we talked about some difficult emotional states like feeling isolated, lonely, sad, things like that. And Darryl asked us a series of questions to see where we were at. Now, next week, we want to know, where are you at now? So this will be your opportunity to contact us, and you can do that via email. If you want to, some of you will have the opportunity, we hope, to speak with Darryl live next week to get feedback on where you're at and how best to move forward. So if you're interested in participating, send us an email, mindset@bodyandsoulcharity.org, or you can reach out to us through the Instagram page @ShareTheMindset.
And just another reminder that Mindset is not designed for crisis support. So if you're struggling and you need some help, please go to your nearest A&E department or call the Samaritans at 116-123.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We look forward to being with you again next week.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, keep working
on your mindset.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.